that it? All right, we're live. Hello, everybody. I'm here to save you from the endless walkout music, which I hope you did enjoy. I think we're joined here tonight by Rich. Are you there, Rich?
Yeah, how you doing, Dale? You okay?
Yeah, nice one. Yeah, thank you. And I've got a page of early questions here. I'll kick off with those, but ping your questions in if you're watching this and something occurs, and we'll see what we can do. Since I'm in the chair, I'm going to give the first question to Rich because I get to do that. So, Rich, this one from Get Carter on the forum. As we've employed an assistant head coach this season, a defensive expert, why are we conceding so many soft goals?
I don't think it's one that's just on the defensive coaching as such. I think it's as a unit, and I think it's something that we spoke about and we're addressing across the group. And I know Mark sort of spoke in depth with the boys about it after the 2 goals this weekend. So it's something we're working on and something we're trying to get better at. But when we have conceded goals, we've been effective at getting back into games, but we struggled a little bit with that with Saturday. But Dryo's done a lot of good work as well since he's been in, I think Mark would be first to say as well. It's not just on Dryo. We defend as a team, and it's not just the back three and the goalkeeper. I think it's as a whole unit. But Dryo's been great since he's been in, and we've still got a good defensive record as well.
Well, I was going to mention that. You sent me a report, I think today or yesterday, 10-page report, stats so far this season, first 10 games in. And I thought our defensive stats are actually quite exceptional, kind of right at the top end of the league. Do you want to just talk about that?
Yeah, so we've been keeping a real close eye on how we're performing, taking the results out of it, but actually the performance metrics. And we're having a sort of bad run in terms of people. Whenever people seem to have a shot, they can be really low quality shots, and they're tending to result in goals. But we are defending well. We're pressing quite well high up the pitch. We're restricting people to poor quality shots, and the purpose of having all those data and having all the information behind us, that it gives us something else behind the result, and the score can be quite isn't always a fair reflection of the game. And we think that if we continue to play at the level we're playing at, we'll be in the right position come the end of the season. But it's something else we just look at as a group to get an emotionless verdict on the game.
Yeah, understood. For the sake of people watching, we have statistics like expected number of goals per game and expected goals against, and we've been performing pretty well against that defensive metric. Expected goals against is what I was referring to. And there's a thing that is referred to as the Justice League, which is the league table according to the game stats for the whole of League Two. And we're at the top of it. We're underperforming in terms of points that we've managed to achieve, and outperforming in some other respects. And I think I'm right in saying for Brentford last season, they were top of the Justice League, but nowhere near that in the actual league until quite late on in the season when that started to come good for them. That's right, I think, Rich. And we're hoping to see a bit of an adjustment as we get further through the season. Yeah,
we think that it'll be... we're probably a quarter of the way through the season now, so there's plenty of time for it to regress to the mean and go back to as it should be. And likewise, there's teams that are overperforming and all power to them. But eventually, if you continue to play in the right way, the good results will happen for us. So, but it's just important for us to be keeping a track of that and keeping an objective view on everything as a football club.
Yeah. We all tend to think that the league table means a lot more by Christmas, and I guess the statistical approach is just a data-driven version of that. Actually, just looks ahead and says, if things adjust where they should adjust, then things are either going to get better or worse. For us, they should be getting better.
Yeah.
We'll move on to another question then. I'm gonna let you have this one as well, Rich. Any players to target in January?
We've been working on it since the summer, and we always try and sort of work 2 windows ahead. So it's been a little bit tough in terms of there's a restriction on sort of live scouting at the minute, but we were building profiles at the back end of last year on players for January and next summer. So we've got targets. We hopefully won't be looking to do too much because we've got a really strong squad at the minute, but should anything happen or should we need to change it, we've got plenty of we've got plenty of targets, and we're starting to have conversations now about what might be able to be done in January. So we're working well ahead, and we feel like we're in a good place to act if we need to in January. So quite happy with where we are at the moment.
Yeah, nice one. Thanks, Rich. Quick one for me then. I'll take this one. Bill Shankly from the forum. Prepaid for a season's disabled parking, used only once. Can he get a refund? I think probably you can, Bill. Just, drop an email to the club or give us a call or something like that. I don't see why not. Smiley one here. Jamie, any chance you can trim the trees so we can watch the game from the field? Or can you invite me to a game? The struggle is real. I feel your pain, Jamie. I'm not sure they are trees though, so I don't think we go around trimming them. But thanks for the question. Another one for you, Rich. Will Odin Bailey remain on loan until the end of the season?
It's something we're talking about internally. I think with how he's been, he's a player we'd like to keep, and we're sort of trying to have that conversation with Birmingham and with Odin, and hopefully that's something we can do. It seems to fit with him at the club. He's enjoyed his time here. He was a bit curtailed last season, and he's hit the ground running since he's come in this time. So hopefully it'd be something we could look to do, and he can continue to do well with us. So he's a player we like. It fits him in the club. So it would be a nice one, and could help us get promoted from the end of the season.
Yeah, agreed. I'm certainly enjoying watching him play. Question for me, I reckon. Loads of questions it says here on Eco Park. So I think generally the question is, has the virus or lockdown held us back with the planning work for Eco Park, or are we still on target? And when will buildings start? Yeah, that's the great question. When will buildings start? I would say in broad terms, the lockdown and the pandemic and everything hasn't had an impact on us in terms of planning. We're holding planning permission now. The actual written version came to us in June or July following the December decision. And we're now working our way through the 30 planning conditions, getting ready to do detailed planning design work for the stadium as well. We probably won't start that until next year. And I hope we'll be breaking ground in between 1 and 2 years from now. And last time I spoke to the architects, they said it was 2 years to build the stadium. So, you can add it all up from there, really. We're 3 or 4 years out, probably, from our first game. By then, I feel very confident that we'll be in League One. Another one for me. Lots of questions on Mark Cooper, it says here. What are my expectations? Contract is ending at the end of this year. Is he under pressure for promotion? I would say that there's no particular pressure. We don't operate that way as a club, not in my time here. And I'm enjoying working with Mark. I think that, he's a good part of the team. We make a good team. I think we've made progress together. You can see that if you just look where we've come from and where we are now. Every year we look to be better on the pitch. We improve things off the pitch to support him and his staff and the boys. And I think we've achieved that again this year. And I think we're making good progress. And I do think this could be the year that we go up. So I'd say everything's good on that front. So I'm running out of questions here, Will. I don't know if you've got any new ones coming in. No, he doesn't think he does. Oh.
Yep. I do. Hi, Rich. Yes, we've got a few questions from Facebook who are coming in. I think this one is probably for you, Rich. Jake Young has been a real surprise package so far. Was he expected to play such a big role so early on in the season?
Probably not, in all honesty. But when we brought Youngie into the club, we'd seen a lot of him. We liked a lot of his skills, and like with a lot of these young players, once we just give them the chance to get into the team, it's up to them how they grasp it. He had to wait a little bit to get his opportunities, and then when he's taken it, his goal return's been phenomenal. So it probably wasn't the plan, but it's probably credit to Mark with the work he's done with him. And all the medical staff in terms of getting him up to speed physically, and then credit to Jake for getting in the team and doing well. So wasn't the plan, but sometimes you just enjoy it, and he's doing really well for himself at the minute.
Brilliant. And there's another one here about Hector Bellerin's input, Dale. What's his involvement so far since he's become the second biggest shareholder at the club? I
would say not a lot, really. I mean, he's obviously busy with his playing career. We had a long conversation on Zoom because we couldn't meet up due to lockdown and stuff like that. This was the beginning of the summer. And we've been exchanging emails and stuff around some schemes that he's got going on off the pitch, some environment initiatives that he's pursuing. We've got the kind of one tree planted thing in common that we're working with him on. And we've got a couple other things cooking, I would say. And it was never expected that he would be involved in the running of the club or something like that. Just that he wanted to be a part of what he called the FGR family. He wanted to be involved. And we thought that, we could pursue other things that we could probably do together, given that he's got the same off-field aspirations as we have, which is to promote sustainability. So I would say so far, so good.
Brilliant. There's another question here for you, Rich, and it's from Gary Dale. Would a playmaking midfielder be high on the wish list for you in January?
I think it'd be a position that we'd look at, but in terms of what Odin Bailey's done when he's played in those sort of roles, he's been really creative. Aaron Collins was really creative at the start of the season, and there's not that many of them around, in all honesty. Sort of Reece Brown left us to go to the Championship and get paid a Championship wage, and he was great for us. So it's a tough battle to find a really good one, but if there's one available, we'd look to do it. If not, we're happy with what we've got in the building and the boys that have been playing so far and done well for us.
And another one here for you, Rich, as well. It's from Sean Bedwell. Do you think that we lack a 20-goal-a-season player?
It's something that comes up a lot, this one, and the people are always sort of poking on it. And if they were out there, we would try our level best to get them. I think if you look at the season last year, I think Owen Doyle was 20 plus over the season. I think the next highest after him was around 12 or 13. So there's not loads of them around at this level, but in terms of the competition that we've got so far, I think Jammer's on 5, Youngie's on 5, and Matty Stevens is on 5 with a couple in the cup competitions, and we sit here a quarter of the way through the season. So those lads are on course to get double-figure goals, and if we don't have a 20-goal-a-season centre forward, we just have to get them from all areas, and everyone has to chip in and do the bit. But if there was one out there, we'd try and level best to get them, but I don't think there's as many out there as people think.
No worries. Another one here for you, Dale, actually. This is from Dean Thorpe from the forum. Given the coronavirus pandemic, when we can attend matches again, would it be sensible for clubs to ban away fans? Is that something the EFL have discussed?
I don't know if the EFL are discussing it. It's certainly come up in our conversations at the club as we started to get ready to get fans back in early September. We ran the pilot game. Certainly the next step that we could see was getting home fans back, but not away fans. And there's good logic for that. And I imagine that good logic would stand. So depending on the circumstances when fans come back, but if it's like sometime soon and we're still wrestling with the pandemic, then I imagine it will be home fans first and not away fans.
And another one here from Foggy that's for you, Dale. How long can the club survive without gate money? Is it surviving without the gate money from fans?
Yeah, well, we are surviving. Look, here we are. How long can we keep going for? We set out at the start of the season pretty clear in what we thought could come, which was this, no fans at games. And we cut our budget 25%, made some other adjustments. We're doing all right, I would say. We had obviously a few hundred people chip in and buy season tickets. That's been a big help. I thank everybody for that. And there may be some money coming from the Premier League. We saw the EFL talk about that this week. They dropped the objection to the Championship being excluded and are now going to engage with the Premier League over that. That's a mixture of grants and loans. It's not like, I don't think, super generous, but there may be something coming our way. And if not, I'm very hopeful we'll get fans back, not this side of Christmas. I don't think that'll happen, but maybe just after.
Question here for you, Rich, from Graham. What is the process of targeting players? Is there a set process in which the recruitment team go about getting players into the club?
Yeah, there is. There's a lot of parts to it. We try and watch the players live at least 2 or 3 times as best we can. We try and make sure those games are in sort of different circumstances. So home, away, against top of the table, bottom of the table. These are all nice to have if we can do them. In terms of the live scouting, and then where possible, we've got a sort of data intelligence program where we can look at how they're performing in terms of the data and whether they'll be a fit for us. So it's quite a complex process to get to that point. And then once you've decided that the players are player you like and would fit the style of play, you're then looking into the sort of intangible qualities, the personality checks, the references from people that have worked with them. So there's a real long process to it, and that's why, although it's a headache that we've not been able to get to as many live games as we'd have wanted to this year, because we start working and there's quite a thorough process in place, we're able to carry on and plan for January should we need to do anything. So yeah, a little bit of a long-winded answer from me there, but there is a real process in place, and we try and stick to it as best we can.
And is that something that's almost affected by the pandemic we're going through at the moment, or is it something that just continues in the same way that football is still continuing up and down the country at the moment?
So we're limited in where we can get to watch games live. At the minute, we're sort of limited to opposition of upcoming opposition in League Two, and then beg, stealing and borrow on favours from other clubs where we can. But obviously, we're also respectful at the minute that the country is in a state of lockdown, so that is a little bit more difficult over the last few weeks. But we're confident that when we get to the point where we can bring players in if we need to, we'll be in a good position to do it, and we'll have been through the recruitment process with all the players as well.
And there's a question here from Facebook for you, Rich. If Exeter win tonight and progress to the next round, is it a competition that we would take seriously now that we're not in the FA Cup or Carabao Cup competition?
I think despite what people will think and the conceptions of it, we take all the competition seriously, but we also try and give players an opportunity to play. And I think in the last game against Swindon, as an example, we were able to give players a game, and it was a good contest, and we came out of it on the wrong side of it. But some of the things it's been able to do, as well as a club, we've been able to blood academy players over the last couple of years in it, and we've sort of given Vaughan Coval exposure, Harvey Bunker, and then this year Jack Carter and Finn Bell. So we do want to progress, we do want to win, but we also have a commitment in terms of the club of the academy, and Mark's used these games as an opportunity to bring players in. And in terms of the FA Cup, again, with the data, Lincoln were probably the better side, but it wasn't a 6-2 game, and they scored some excellent goals, and they're an excellent team at the top end of League One, and it was one of the hardest draws we could have get. So again, we picked a team that we felt had enough to go and challenge in the game, and we do try and get through in all cup competitions because it's revenue for the football club and opportunities for players as well.
Brilliant, thank you, Rich. Another question here for you, Dale. If you recruit players, do they convert to be vegan if they're not already? How has that been for you during the time at the club, introducing this vegan diet to the footballers?
Yeah, it feels to me like it's no big deal. Since we began almost 10 years ago with the red meat ban, as the Sun described it at the time, which was great fun. And, I don't ever hear that it's an issue. I don't think it's something that bothers players thinking of coming here. In fact, I think it's part of the attraction, funnily enough. We're a progressive, modern, forward-looking club. The diet and the focus on sports nutrition is a part of that, and a vegan diet is very sports focused diet, actually, or sports outcome successful. And over the years, some players have gone vegan, at home, taking their families at home. Ruben Reid was a good example of that. He told me about that and how much better it made him feel. So he said, he took his whole family vegan, and fans have said the same to me as well. So it's just part of the background noise now for us.
Excellent. A few more football questions coming in. Please keep your questions coming in at press@fgr.co.uk and using the hashtag on the screen, and then using the Facebook chat as well. There's one here for you, Rich. Are the players in the academy effectively losing a year because of the COVID pandemic? Is their training continuing? Is there anything the club can do to help them develop during lockdown, given that it's probably likely to continue the other side of Christmas?
No, I wouldn't say they've lost a year. We've been really conscious of making sure the academy's ticking over. We are in a point at the minute with last week and this week we had some cases pop up through the under-18s and started to move into the under-16s. So we took the opportunity as a little bit of a fire break, but they're the only 2 real weeks where the players have lost out on the sort of training and games program. So we've kept that up and running. we were trying to work to get the academy training more with the first team this year, which we had all the plans in place for. But then obviously with the pandemic, it's sort of part of the regulation was telling us that we shouldn't be unnecessarily mixing groups. So that's been a little bit affected, but for the most part, the academy's kept running, and Hannah and the staff all the way through there have done a great job in keeping it safe and making sure the boys keep getting their exposure, keep getting the training, and keep getting the games program. So no, we've been ticking over, and the players are getting as much as they can, and we feel like we're operating in a safe way and giving them as many opportunities as we can do.
Excellent. Plenty more questions coming in now. We move on to some for Dale. Dale, you've attended almost all fixtures home and away this season. Which gave you the most pleasure as a fan?
Good question. I think it might have been Morecambe away.
Yeah.
I think the one game I haven't been to is, or didn't go to, was Lincoln, actually. I probably didn't regret that. But I did watch it on the streaming service. And I turned off like 20 minutes from the end thinking I'd seen everything at 3-0. And then later on, somebody told me it ended 6-2. And I was like, oh my God, I missed quite a lot actually in the last 20 minutes. But I just want to confirm what Rich says. It's not like we don't care about the cup competitions, but it's an important time to run out other parts of the squad. Players in the squad, give them the chance, and it's in those moments that players get the chance to break through, like Jack Young did, against West Brom. Actually, in the cup competition, he really shone in that game, and that gave him his break into the first team.
Another one question here from Rupert Greenhalgh. He said, Forest Green are progressive. Do you think that the pyramid is broken and needs a rethink on things like a wage cap, transfer ceilings, and redistribution? That comes from a Bolton fan, actually, who said they know all too well about free-fall from the Premier League high costs.
Yeah. It was one of the great aspects of the, what was it called, Project Big Picture, that was leaked to the press a few weeks ago, was actually a whole bunch of things just mentioned in that question. The end of parachute payments, for example, the redistribution of TV money from the Premier League down through the pyramid. I think 25% of that money was meant to come to the EFL under those proposals. And I think it would have been transformative. That aspect of Project Big Picture was definitely transformative. And it seems like it got shot down in flames for one thing only, which was the proposal for 6 big clubs in the Premier League to dominate the voting rights. I was kind of hoping they might get over that between themselves in the Premier League, agree on something simple like simple majority voting. And maybe they could go ahead. But we'll see. They're definitely talking about it. And my big hope is that we could end parachute payments. I think that really distorts the competition from the Championship all the way down through to non-league, actually, because we have a parachute payment out of League Two into non-league, which is, just considerable compared to the league income in the conference. And we've already got a salary cap and a squad cap in League Two and League One now. And maybe it's time to think about that in the Championship as well. Are we online?
Is that something for you, Rich, that affects almost recruiting players and the things that you do in your side, working with Dale on the board?
I think the summer was a big change for players, and there was a bit of a change in the landscape of what players could expect. But as much as there should be as many safeguards in as possible to make sure that we don't get situations like Bury, that there's also a massive onus on the clubs to make sure they're not overspending. And ultimately, if clubs are only spending within their means, then those sort of things don't happen. And we're trying to build a model here, and we're really lucky with the support we get, but we're also trying to bring in players to the football club that can eventually bring in some revenue, like Christian Deutsch, Reece Brown, Ethan Pinnock, and people like that, so we can help ourselves in terms of the finances. But it is now a consideration, and across the footballing world now, people are aware that we operate under a salary cap, and what we need to do to stay in line with that and play our part with it.
Thank you, Rich. Dale, there's a question here just talking about investment as a whole, really. How can they become an investor? They've seen that Hector's got involved, Robert from Massive Attack's got involved. If they wanted to get involved in supporting the club, how can they do that?
I guess get in touch with the club. Send us an email probably is the quickest way to do that, and then we can quickly kind of sketch that out, how that looks. We don't have a formal scheme for doing that. We just kind of respond when people get in touch and say, can they?
And there's another question here talking about Robert actually from Massive Attack. What are the exciting projects that he's working on at the moment? I bet there's quite a few.
Yeah, he's probably working on some projects that I don't know about. But the one we've talked about doing is a new sound system for the stadium and looking at the concept of spatial sound, which is something quite new and cutting edge in sound systems. Excuse me. And also a visual side as well. So to create a complete audio visual approach to a football game, to bring in some big screens and some data that you might see at a Massive Attack gig and that kind of stuff. It's kind of bit of blue sky thinking, really, just seeing what we can do at a football club that crosses over what you can do at a gig, really, because they're very similar events, big live events for people for entertainment, and I think there is a lot of crossover that we can do. So we're having fun looking at it at the moment. I just want to bring in one question that I missed, Connor. It's from Sandy. That's all I know, and it says, "What are the viewing stats so far this season for the streaming?" And the answer is that typically we've got about 150 season ticket holders logging in, and then we've got about 100 other fans buying passes for a game, so a couple 150 per game so far.
Dale, for you, which mentions about Christmas merchandise. Are you aware of any more Christmas stocking fillers that are going to be heading into the FDR Club shop ahead of the festive period?
You cut off there, Connor. Was that aimed at me?
It was, yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Is there any Forest Green Christmas merchandise heading into the club shop this Christmas?
Not that I know of, but I wouldn't rule it out. Somebody might just pop something on my desk in the next couple of days and say, "Do you fancy if we make this?" Quite often ideas come to us that way and we just whip them out, but nothing I know of at the moment.
No worries. Rich, a few more football questions coming in for you. This one's from Sam. He's from Nailsworth. He said, how is the academy getting on with your new under-18s coach, Jimmy Ball?
Jimmy's been really good. We put a really thorough interview process in place, and Jimmy popped out of it, and he's got a good understanding of different academies at different levels, and also with his sort of background and his sort of family connections, he's got a real understanding of what it takes to compete at a senior level. So Jimmy's been really good. He's working with a lot of the academy, and he's also spent a lot of the pre-season time shadowing Mark in the first team, so we can make sure that there's a real synergy between the first team and the under-18s, and we're really lucky as a football club in having that. And a lot of clubs will say they do it, but I think they sort of pay lip service to it. Mark's great at spending a lot of time watching the under-18s game. He's been great at allowing Jimmy to shadow the first team. So it's been a real good step forward for us. And Jimmy's been great since he's been in the club, and he's a really committed individual, and he works well with the rest of the staff in place and with Hannah. So it's been great since he's been in, and we're looking forward to seeing where it takes us.
Especially during these times as well, it's more important to have an academy more than ever. Just have them players in and around the club to develop them and see how they can progress further in the future.
Yeah, definitely. And we're really lucky in terms of the progression we had with sort of Harvey and Vaughan last year, and people forget that they're still second-year scholars, although they've signed pro contracts. They're not even 18 yet. So they're performing at a good level. The boys we've exposed in the leasing.com trophy, or Papa John's as it is now, it's been great for them. So it's good. It's a good place for us as a club at the minute to be able to promote players through the academy, and that's testament to the hard work of everyone in the academy that goes on. It's a really big operation, and it runs really well, and all the feedback we get back is really positive about all the staff and the players. Brilliant.
There's a question here for both of you, actually, since you've both been to most of our games this season. This is from Craig in Birmingham. What's been your favourite goal of the season so far?
For me, it was Odin Bailey's corner, and I forget who we were even playing at. Was it Leyton Orient? I think it might have been. It was a home game, late in the game. Corner from the right, in at the near post, far post. Sorry, that was my favourite goal.
For me, it would be Jake Young against Stevenage. I think when we'd had a bit of a disrupted week with a few goings on with the COVID stuff, and Youngie's had a great run and then bent it into the top corner. So that would have been my favourite so far this season.
Choices, good choices. A few now for you, Dale. How are the National Fan Club plans coming along? That's from Toby, who is a fan in Romania.
Very cool. Hi there, Toby. Yeah, I think they're coming on pretty well. We've probably been slowed down a little bit, but we were talking about it just the other day. This is a project that Henry, our chief exec, has got hold of. He's got some plans on that front. I think we're going to recruit somebody to help him get more traction. But I think we've got like 100 fan groups now around the world that we've been in touch with and are in conversation with. And we've got like a new website coming and a new app. They should both land this side of Christmas. We're pretty excited about them. I mean, the app is Premier League class, absolutely. The website too, but we haven't had an app before. And these are kind of key things that we want to land in order to engage with fans digitally. And it's kind of important during lockdown because fans can't come to games, but it was anyway important to us because we wanted to engage with our global fan base more than we were able to do before. So I would say that there's a lot more to come from us yet on the international fan front, but we're working on it.
Yeah, and another question, which is from the news that broke yesterday on Arsenal joining the UN scheme amongst other football clubs as well. What were your thoughts on that? Because you did speak to TalkSport to react to that one.
Yeah, I spoke to them today, and I was really pleased to see that. Quite excited. I think it's the first Premier League club to sign up to the scheme. Third club in Britain. It was us, then it was Hibs, and now it's Arsenal. And I think it means something when a Premier League team signs up to that. I think they'll be the first of many. But I think fair play to them for doing it. Well done. We're kind of here to help and advise any football club that wants to join the UN scheme or just take steps to reduce their environment impact. We can see it's becoming a thing. We're having conversations with quite a few clubs in the Premier League Championship and across the EFL and actually in the non-league pyramid as well. There's an awful lot of interest in doing this kind of stuff. So I think this is kind of football catching up with the world because the world's been moving this way for a little time. There's been a kind of sea change in the attitude of people. Businesses have been cottoning on to that, knowing that they have to do more to show and take responsibility for their environment impact. And I think football's catching up with that, which is great.
Excellent. Another question here for you, or actually just quickly, Exeter beating West Brom in the Papa John's Trophy. So as we are going through, I try not to do any Jeff Stelling moment there. Live on air. Yet another question here for you, Dale. There's a severe lack of affordable housing, so it's difficult for young players or workers to live in the Nailsworth area. Is Dale or the club doing anything about this affordable housing crisis and how it affects the club and the local community?
Yeah, we're not doing anything in particular, but when we vacate the new lawn for Eco Park, then our plans are to build, I think, 90 homes, and we want to make them low carbon and affordable so we can plug that gap to a degree when we leave.
Rich, this one's from the Pod on the Top of the Hill podcast. They've said, last season, Rovers had the third least crosses in the league. This year, we've had the third most. What was the thinking behind this tactical switch? And is it probably to do with the signing of Nicky Cadden?
It was something that sort of Mark spoke about and was quite deliberate in thinking about a change of tact. And I think people knew what Forest Green were last year and what they were expecting, and then we sort of shook it up again a little bit. And have changed it. And we sort of knew that we would need to be a little bit more physical while still maintaining our style of play. And I think that's a balance that we've managed to do. We're still high in the possession statistics, but we are higher in crossing, and we think it's a good way of scoring goals in this league. And I think a lot of our good moments have come that way. So it's something we're looking to build upon. And we knew that the players that were out there could help us go and implement that style, and the boys that we brought in.
Another football question here for you, Rich, from Sarah in Dursley. She said, "We seem to score every free kick we had in pre-season. Has there been any specific work on this in training, and why has this not been translated in our league games?"
The run we had in pre-season was pretty spectacular. I think the Bristol Rovers game was like a goal of the season competition, and a lot of the work that we're doing around expected goals and the sort of data we alluded to earlier, they are tough to score from outside the area, but we have also been quite effective from corners this season. So a lot of work goes into the set pieces. We're looking at different routes. I'm trying to be slightly more innovative with some of the set piece work. But goals are hard to come by from direct free kicks, but we feel like the work the boys are doing on the training pitch, we're still going to be effective at corners, and we also want to be better at it as well.
Thank you. Yeah, we're just heading into our final 20 minutes of this fans forum. Please get your questions in by replying to the video using the hashtag FGR fans forum or emailing press@fgr.co.uk. Dale, we've had a question in here, which is a club shop question. Will the club shop consider selling Waggy beards after Scott Wagstaff joining, and having a positive impact on the club?
I didn't know they were a thing. Was that like some kind of kind of stick-on beard or something? Yeah.
I think when he was at Wimbledon, he kind of painted it blue and yellow as well for one of the matches. We'll have to try and get it painted green for us.
That's a nice idea.
Brilliant stuff. We'll see what we can do. Another one here for you. If fans aren't allowed back into grounds, has there been any thought about giving the screening of the game in the Carol Embry or the gym bar? Some other clubs in League One and the Championship are doing this.
Yeah, they were doing it, weren't they? And we were thinking about it. And then the second lockdown came along, so obviously you can't do that anymore. But it was one of those anomalies of the rules of lockdown, if you can call it that, or the situation we were in between lockdowns, was that you could go to a pub and watch a football game, but you couldn't go to a stadium and watch a football game, even though the stadium was outdoors and with a mask on, and the pub was indoors with no mask on. And so some clubs, as you say, did open up their bars so that fans could go there and watch the game, which is just absurd. But that's how the rules were. Second lockdown has come along and killed that off. I hope we won't need to do that, because we'll be able to get fans back, before too long. Although I could see there being a combination position where, if we are only allowed 1,000 fans in, for example, then we also open up the Carol Embry and the gym bar and get a few more fans in that way.
The club going to make any more free FGR shirts available for Year 3 kids? They requested one today, but they said they were sold out.
Yeah, I had an update on that this afternoon from Henry, and the first 400 had gone, and we'd dug out another 40 to make them available. So I don't know if that inquiry came in before or after those 40 were dug out. So I just don't know. But I think we probably have physically run out at this point of kids' shirts. But I'll chase it up tomorrow and find out.
Yeah, no worries.
It's a great thing. I'm really pleased the popularity of that. I think we're in our 6th year, and it's a fantastic thing. It's better in a normal season when kids can come to the ground and pick up a shirt and watch a game. But I'm still really pleased that we're doing it, and it's just more popular every year.
Yeah, definitely really important to engage them young supporters in the local area as well.
Yeah.
Another question here for you. How the sales been for the new black and white kit? The fans seem to love it so far.
Yeah, it's been really good. Super popular, I would say. Similar to the green and black when it first came out, and so successful, you might say that Man United thought that they would borrow the inspiration for that and bring out their own version. I don't know if you've seen that. You probably have. I think it's their away kit. very similar to our black and white, and actually borrowing the language from our press release when we launched, talking about the razzle and dazzle, rather, the camouflage from World War One ships and stuff like that. And on the same subject, our third kit, the Sea Shepherd, saw Liverpool running out in a kit that looked almost identical to that a few weeks ago as well. So kind of further example, perhaps, of where Premier League teams are picking up inspiration for their kits from Forest Green. I don't think it's exaggerating to say that, because both of those kits look so similar to what we're running out in and have been for a little while that you can't draw any other conclusion. But I'm happy enough for that. Sometimes where we lead, other clubs follow.
Yeah, and there's a question here for both of you. How great is it to see players getting out doing community work during the pandemic? It's a great part of what the club does. Start with you, Dale. And there was a visit to one of the local gentlemen, Bernard Twiddy from Kane Wilson, that was just to mark the Loneliness Month that we did here at the club. So yeah, how important is it for the club, to get them players out in the local community?
Yeah, I think it's great that we do that, and our community trust as well. That part of the club is really important, does some great work. And recently we reached out during half term as well to kind of join the campaign fronted by Marcus Rashford to feed kids in the school holidays that needed free school dinners. And that's all part of kind of the community work that we do. And I think football clubs, we're not unique. Football clubs up and down the country fulfill a really important role in their own local communities, and I think that's one of the great aspects of football that perhaps gets unseen by the media, who can be quite quick to criticize, and particularly because of the amount of money in the Premier League, but actually there's an awful lot of good work done in the football pyramid in local communities.
I think our group as well, they're really keen to help out when they can, and I think it's good that football's becoming more socially aware and knowing that it can make a massive difference to people, and our players are great at helping to be part of that. And I think, echoing what Dale said, I think football clubs all up and down the country have given football a really good name during this uncertain period, which is great for everyone to be a part of, really.
Excellent. Another one here for you, Rich. We noticeably missed Scott Lindsay last season. What does an assistant bring to the game? And how do you think Richard Dryden's settled in so far?
Rich Dryden's settled in really well. He's been really good with Mark. He'd worked with him in the past, and it's an extra pair of hands out on the training pitch to do individual bits of work. It's a fresh voice for the boys. It's a fresh voice in terms of sort of tactical opinion. So Dryo's been great since he's been in. He's been a real positive influence in and around the place. I'm sure it's a shame that the fans aren't here to see his input on a match day, and he's been great for us since he's been at the club, and him and Mark work really well together. So he's been great this year, and I think a lot of his hard work's been rewarded so far, and hopefully we continue.
Excellent. Let's have a look for some more questions for you. Let's see what's been coming in through Facebook. There, Sarah Okwart, who is the head of the FGR community, she's just confirmed there for us, Dale, that all 440 have gone. But like you said, for the shirts, we'll get those communicated out to us, out to supporters if they want to pick up any more of those ones. We're just heading into the final 5 minutes or so of this, so please keep your questions coming in. We've got a question here from Charlie, who does ask the work that Hannah does in the community, in the academy. How good has that been in the last year? She seems to have been doing a great job. That's for both of you.
She's brilliant for me to work with. She's been an absolute breath of fresh air in terms of how she approaches things. She's got a meticulous eye for detail. She's relentless when she wants to get something. So she's been great, and I think there's a real feeling of positivity around the academy with Hannah steering the ship, and now we've just got to really focus that good work that she's been doing in terms of player production and getting to that point that not all clubs can get to, where we have an academy player playing regularly in the first team, and we're confident with the way things are going that'll come for us. And and like I say, she's been excellent. She's got a lot of energy. She's got a lot of effort to her, and she's got a really good understanding of the role and what it takes for an academy at this level to be successful. So she's been great.
And from my point of view, a great appointment. I think she's really transformed the academy for us. Our experience of it, the closeness of the academy and the first team is exceptional. We had issues with that before. Communication was occasionally difficult. And I just think we've made enormous progress with our academy, and she's great to work with as well. I mean, just top marks, really.
All right, I think we're just having a little bit of sound there. Rich, there's another question just for you in terms of January. I know we've been hit hard with a lot of January questions. Is Odin Bailey a player that you'd be looking to keep at the club? That is from Ben.
Yeah, if everything was right and we can make something work for all parties, I think it'd be something we'd like to do. He's, like I said before, he's been great since he's been in the building. He's worked really well, and it seems to fit for him here at the football club. So if it was right for everyone to do it, it's something that we'd look to do come January, and we'll be having conversations with Birmingham about that.
Excellent. Question for you, Dale. This one is from Scott. He's asked, were you serious about standing for FA chairman when you said it on Twitter?
I wasn't. No, I wasn't. It was super tongue-in-cheek. I hope that came across, although some people did seem to take me seriously, particularly on Facebook. I think it looked more serious. But, I mean, the humour was just saying, look, I'm not racist, sexist or homophobic, and I'll tell you the truth, including about Project Big Picture. Maybe I'm overqualified. That was the joke. But I'm too busy to do the job, and I'm sure I'm not the kind of person they want anyway, but it was just a bit of fun.
Excellent. Rich, there's a question here about the academy for you. Is there a long-term plan to keep former players back to work at the club? For instance, Jan Kulkowski is working in the academy, and I suppose the young players who he's coaching don't know, how well regarded he was by fans here at the club.
It's something we'd love to do, and we're sort of speaking to some of the more senior players in the first team. Chris Stokes has been doing a little bit of work with the academy as well. So yeah, it's great. It's great for us to have not just the fact that they're former players, that they're the right sort of people around the club. They understand how we work. They understand what it is to be part of this special club. So if they're the right people, we'd love to keep them around. And Jan's been great, along with all the rest of the academy staff that work with all the different age groups.
There's a fan here, Colin. He's just asking about the soccer schools. I suppose that's through the community trust, but I mean, we do have the younger age groups in the academy, the schoolboys, and plenty of opportunities there, isn't there, for players to get involved, I suppose, post-lockdown.
Say that again, sorry, Connie, you broke up over there.
Right. So I suppose post-lockdown, there's plenty of opportunities for younger players to get involved in the academy as well. Yeah,
and we're looking at expanding what we do, and I know it's something Hannah's keen to do in terms of getting players in at an early age and making sure it's fun for them. So it's something that's important, and it'll give us a great opportunity to do that.
Excellent. I think that's just about it for this virtual fans forum. Thank you so much for sending your questions, getting in touch with us. Thank you very much, Rich, for joining us. There's a few mic issues with Dale's mic down at his office, so we're just going to wrap up there. Plenty of questions. Thank you so much for sending them in. If you do have any more questions that you don't think got answered today, feel free to send them in. Press at fgr.co.uk. We'll get them answered for you. Thank you very much, everyone. Thanks for joining us.